Oh, thank you so much for staying with us here on Morning Live. Now, in keeping with the Zimbabwean elections, of which we've brought you wall coverage, and we will continue to do, a large number of Zimbabweans studying at the University of Fort Hare in the Eastern Cape couldn't travel back home to vote. But the Zimbabwean community on campus, as you would imagine, have been following the election with keen interest. And the students on campus last week expressed the hope that the economy of Zimbabwe can be restored after the elections. But not all were sure that the polls will be free and fair. And they are now keenly awaiting, like the rest of the world, the outcome of this election. And our reporter, Lubabalo Dada, is at the Alice campus of Fort Hare to bring us more on this. Good morning, Lubabalo.
A very good morning to you and welcome to Alice in the Eastern Cape. As we all know that vote counting has already begun in Zimbabwe. The first election that doesn't have the name of the former president, Robert Mugabe, on the ballot papers. You would remember that a number of Zimbabweans living in South Africa left the country last week to cast their vote in Zimbabwe, but not everyone of them who stays in South Africa was able to go and vote in Zimbabwe. And I do have next with me Mishek Mugabe, who is a student at the University of Fort Hare, and he was unable to go there as well to cast his vote, but he has been monitoring the elections since yesterday. Very good morning to you, Mr. Mugabe, and welcome to the program.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me.
Unfortunately, you were not able to go to the elections and you've missed out this opportunity. How do you feel about missing out the opportunity?
No, first of all, I want to congratulate President Mnangagwa for delivering peaceful elections. And this is the first election, of course, without the name of Morgan Tsvangirai and Robert Mugabe on the ballot paper. But part of what we are jubilant is that for the first time, these elections do not have violence. These elections do not have a lot of intimidation that we used to see in previous years. There was no police intimidation. People were voting. That is why the voter turnout is so huge. But of course, some of these people who were not able to go and vote, there are many reasons behind, of course, the issue of academic commitments, the issue of affordability, and of course, the whole debate about the diaspora vote. We said we want all in the diaspora, because remember, due to economic problems, many Zimbabweans moved all over the world. In Canada, they are in China, they are in South Africa, they are in India. We said they must be allowed, like part of what other countries do, to vote in diaspora. But now all political parties that are participating could not fight for that successfully. That is why some of the people were not. But yesterday, when I tried to check at the airport, I could see that most of the flights were fully booked because people were so willing and so eager to go and vote, you know, to an extent that those who could not book flights in time could not get their flights to go timeously to go and vote. But nevertheless, we are here now, results are being counted, we are jubilant, and we need to look for the future.
And then, sir, what are your hopes after the elections? We understand that the results will be out by the weekend. So whoever wins then has got a lot of responsibility upon him. So what are your hopes?
Yeah, no, these elections means a lot to everyone, to different people. You know, to me, it means the future where my little daughter is able to secure best education system in Zimbabwe. To others, it means, of course, opportunities to start businesses in a new Zimbabwe. It will mean, of course, those who are studying, who are in the academia jobs for the future. So it means a lot, this election. We're in the fourth industrial revolution. We need to see a modern Zimbabwe. The new president will have to deal with that. But let me tell you about the two predicaments that these elections are providing. The first one is that we have got President Mnangagwa, who is surrounded by generals, you know, and you know how generals work. And we are not sure whether if Chamisa wins, the generals are going to accept the results or accept Chamisa as the new president. That is the first predicament. The second predicament is that Chamisa is on record saying that the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission is biased towards the ZANU-PF. He is saying that the ballot papers were printed outside him. So we are not sure again, of course, him being surrounded by many other political players, whether they are going to accept. If ZANU-PF wins, they will accept Mnangagwa as a president. So both parties, we are not sure whether they are going to accept the results. But what we hope hope and what I see, I foresee myself, based on results that have been coming, that I've been receiving, is that we are likely to have a government of national unity. We are likely going to have President Mnangagwa and President Chamisa working together in the new Zimbabwe in forming a government of national unity, preparing, of course, and modernizing the country. Because all of them, if you look at it, they represent a new dawn. President Mnangagwa and Chamisa, they represent a new dawn. Because remember, the unit of Zimbabweans, when they were unseating the then President Robert Mugabe, there was a unison. There was an indication and a united view that says we need a new era. And both of them represent that new era. You know, so I would want to see a new Zimbabwe where all the people work together to build the country. But what I'm happy about is that the elections were peaceful, and I hope the election commission will announce the results and people will remain peaceful and accept the outcomes.
Well, thank you very much for your time, sir. That was Mishek Mugabe, a student at Fort Hare University, giving us his views about the current situation, about the elections in Zimbabwe. With that, from myself, Lubabalo Dada and Bra Richard, it's back to you in studio.
Well, thank you so much, our reporter Lubabalo Dada, who is in Alice in the Eastern Cape. And from there, we now go to Malawi at the Dzaleka refugee camp, where Leanne